What's going on, Jeromes? Happy Tuesday out there, everyone, everywhere. Happy Taco Tuesday to those who celebrate. Daily Jerome's live stream, talking Vikings, talking draft, talking nonsense, coming right at your ass on Monday through Thursday, 11 a.m. Central-ish time. It's fun. So we got a bunch of Q's. We'll get a couple A's. Let's get this thing going. Zara 44. Hire B-Rob as a Vikings interviewer for weekly 96 questions. Well, he seems to be loving life back home, down in Texas, fishing like every other day. I mean, who wouldn't love that? But since we're still sort of in COVID, I guess they could have him come in on Zoom. I mean, I don't know why they didn't set that up. I mean, that would be phenomenal. Stanley Morrows. You know, B-Rob wants to get into media. I think that he would be phenomenal at that. I know that he's working on some fishing content, which, you know, fitting hand in glove there. But if you want to get into like calling some college games, I'm sure that his alma mater, Texas, they bring him aboard, do radio or something. He would be great at it. Yeah. Stanley Morrows. Knowing the talent in draft, general sense of who will be on board when we pick, I think the Vikings will use the potential of draft to dictate their free agent approach and who they prioritize. Or they just take whoever comes. I think they will just handle free agency first. I think that it is a bad strategy to ignore a potential value position in free agency just because you think he'll be there in the draft, because things change, especially at 14. But in terms of who's going to be there at 14, I think that Mac Jones is going to go a lot sooner than people expect. Would it shock me if he's the fourth quarterback taken before Trey Lance? A little bit, but not overly. I think Mac Jones is going to be called and people are going to go, huh? Because I think the league is going to value him a lot more than the general public. It will be a bit like when Daniel Jones went as high as he did in 2019. Yeah, it'll be up there. Or is it 2018? Next up is, who's going to be there at 12? Darisaw, Rousseau, I think will be there. I think Quidipe has a chance, not guaranteed. Barmore will be there. I think there's a chance Micah Parsons might be there, just because there's only 13 picks ahead of 14, and if 5 quarterbacks go, that's going to push everyone down. Maybe one of the big 3 wide receivers, maybe Kyle Pitts, maybe Surtain makes it there. So there's going to be a numbers crunch. Like, there's going to be a lot of really talented players available at 14. Patrick Harms. I want to give a shout out to my buddy that I grew up with, Ryan Mahaffey, who got hired as a coach for the Packers. Yes, it's Packers, but super awesome. I'm just going to call, I know it's not his name, I'm going to call him Ryan Maffey, because Maffey is low-key one of my more favorite characters on Billions. If I had to do a power ranking of Billions characters, what did he get hired at? He got hired as he was OC at Northern Iowa. Barnstormers, what up? I thought I recognized the name. He was a fullback back in the day. There you go. I'm sure he's like a offense quality control or something. Anyway, so Billions character power rankings. Wags 1. I say that with reservations. Wags 1. Dollar Bill 2. Dollar Bill. If they did spinoffs, I would love to see a Dollar Bill show, but have it be even more of a comedy. Like, Billions is like comedy dramedy to a degree, but I want a Dollar Bill show that's done like Shameless with his 2 families. That'd be great. Ironically, I don't find the main characters that appealing at all. Character on that show in terms of terrible. Like when Maffey called her a garbage person when he was getting pushed in the elevator. That is astute. That is absolutely correct. Why are we having a problem with streaming? Back on. This is a pick. Enhance. We back on. Shimon. Come on, give us the green light. Give us the green light. Come on. A Shimon. Oh, there we go. Excellent connection. We'll finish power rankings later. Next up, Patrick Harms. Oh, yeah, I already talked about that one. Abza Abdi, when you reach 40K, will you Will the story of why you refer to your fan base as Jeromes be explained? Sure. Luke Zacher, what is your greatest I told you so draft moment, aka what player did you believe in more than everyone else that ended up being really good? I don't know, we got a lot of misses. Yeah, that's on the record. I feel like if you don't have a lot of misses, you're not doing the draft right. But I guess a couple hits. Dalvin, I really did like Dalvin. And that was the year 2017 when a lot of Vikings fans were thinking it was going to be Joe Mixon because the Spielman and Zimmer went down to Oklahoma's pro day. I believe Stevenson went with as well. And when the Vikings made a move and they traded up, both Dalvin and Mixon were on board. And that was when, after Mixon, of course, had his incident at Oklahoma. So, okay, whatever. But I love Dalvin, man. Even though people were poo-pooing him because of injuries at Florida State, had some off-the-field stuff, which was minor at Florida State as well. And then after his rookie year and second year, where he had the ACL and then he had the hamstring, people were, "Oh, we're the best. Oh, he's the best, the worst." But boom. Now, please just stay healthy for a full season. I mean, one time. But yeah, when he's healthy, he can be the best running back in the league, including Derrick Henry. Hate to say it. I guess Michael Thomas. I did like Michael Thomas in 2016 out of Ohio State. I would have preferred him over Treadwell. I did like Doxson too, but I like Michael Thomas a little bit better than Doxson. I was out on Treadwell. There just wasn't something right. And even after that horrific foot and tibia injury, he came back at 1,000-yard season. Something just wasn't correct. I was out on that. See, other hits. I'm trying to dig. Was it like a day 3 guy that I was standing on the table for that panned out? I don't know, Fred Warner. Like Fred Warner coming out of college. Yeah, I believe he was a 3rd-round pick. No one really of note. Next up. Danny Woodhead, Shadron State. Stanley Moros. Really starting to get on board with Dickerson in second on a trade up to come in and compete for center. I think his ceiling is so much higher than Bradbury's. I love Landon Dickerson, man. True blue leader. Can absolutely get after and power, as well as block quite a bit of zone when he's out of Florida State. Blocked for Dalvin for one season in 2016. And Dickerson can come in and play guard right away, but it would be a nice hedge in case Bradbury doesn't make a leap in year 3. Love me some Landon Dickerson. Patrick Harms. In question from yesterday, you were asked about your favorite music. I remember saying you were a big MXPX fan. My first tattoo was a MXPX tattoo. I'm so old. Moved, Brammer 10. Well, hang out. Flight reacts. Would you be willing to trade down with the Saints to pick up first next year? They would take Mac Jones, but it could suck next year. So we're getting their first this year, which is what, 28 or something? And then we're getting their first next year. Yeah, 28, and then getting your first next year. Well, if they really want to come up, we're going to leverage some more. Even though they don't have a lot of draft picks this year. Yeah, we'll take Ryan Ramczyk off your hands. We'll play him at left tackle. Nah. It's going to take a little bit more. Yeah, it's going to take more. I would say maybe their future 3rd. Yeah, something like that. Next up. Pulford Skull, I'm very much team BPA. I'm going skill position at 14 all day long. Chase, Smith, Pitts, and Waddle, if any of them are there. Vikings need that generational talent to be great at something like every other team who wins the big dance. I should do a vote to see what folks want to do, BPA or draft for need. Well, people will always say BPA, except then they'll say, well, BPA, but only if it's position XYZ, which is kind of funny to me. But yeah. Drafting for need keeps drafting for need. Plus, a weird caveat, like say the Vikings do get Devontae Smith or Waddle at 14. Could you trade Adam Thielen? That would free him up. It's weird. It's weird. Like say Orlando Brown hasn't been moved yet, and the Ravens, they don't go wide receiver round 1. If you package Adam Thielen with the 3rd and the 4th, does that get it done for Orlando Brown? I don't want to think about it. It's tough. Seth V. Herman. Kevin Valdez. 2020 first round pick Isaiah Wilson said he is done with football as a Titan. Should Rick make a call? No. Problem child. And I hated the pick when they made it because I thought that Wilson was like a third round talent, the right tackle from Georgia. But yeah, John Robinson, of course, is doing damage control, saying, well, this is not the player that we scouted. Bull bleep. Bull bleep. This is exactly the player that you got. And yeah, immaturity and just simply not dedicated to the craft. He is not going to be a professional football player for very, very much longer. Seth V. Herman, what's your favorite part about having this channel? I guess building a community, making some decent content that people seem to like. Well, I'm always sort of hard on ourselves. I don't think our stuff's very good, but that's fine. Does this bring you joy? Yes, it does. Yeah, so it's cool doing these live streams and growing and showing the channel, getting out there. Andrew Hansen, Geno Atkins or K'Wan Short? I would pick Geno, just given the Zimmer history. Plus, K'Wan has been injured for the past 2 years. Well, Geno's been injured too, but I mean that's what you get when you get 30-year-old, 32, 33-year-old defensive tackles. Darius Martin. Now that I think about it, I really want Greg Rousseau along with Daniil and Pierce. Our D-line would be filthy. I would understand it. I get it, but taking Rousseau over Kwity Paye or Aziz, nah. A Husker in Enemy Territory podcast. One player you would love to see the Vikings draft realistically or hell unrealistically. Realistically, Darrisaw or Kwity Paye. I think they're the two most slept on first round players. I really do. Because everyone and their mom's really obsessed with Rousseau, but Kwity Paye is a better player, and he's even more of a physical freak. And Darrisaw, God, I mean, I understand people are really hyping up Slater, and rightfully so. I mean, there's some like craziness, like Daniel Jeremiah. I think Dane Brugler were in on the hey Slater above Penei Sewell movement, which no, but I would, if given the choice, I would take Darrisaw over Slater because I think Darrisaw is a more natural left tackle. He's got the size and measurements, which Slater does not. Slater might even be 6'2". But Slater's good though. Yeah. Unrealistically, Zach Wilson. John Anderson TV. Is there a quarterback in this year's draft that you would draft with our good third round pick as a quarterback of the future, or are you holding on to? I do like Jamie Newman. I think he might sneak into the second round, though. I'm sort of whatever on Kellen Mond. Davis Mills, I hadn't done a lot of work on until recently. I do like him, but that might just be recency bias. But I really do like Desmond Ridder, man. And I think it's kind of annoying that Desmond Ridder went back to school, but I understand it. That Peach Bowl loss had to leave a bad taste in his mouth. Plus, I feel like Cincinnati may make a push to make the playoff next year. Plus, he probably would have been in that Jamie Newman-ish area, late second, early third round this year. He may be a top 10 pick next year if he has a phenomenal season. Darius Martin. Teddy B to the Vikings as a backup. Kirk would never allow it. Now, given the history and also his contract, I don't see it working out. Thorvald Von Johnson. Teams have proven their ability to keep players safe from COVID. Don't you think they should have minicamp? Probably, but also they're concerned about optics still at this point, even though vaccine is out there rolling, country's opening up, rightfully so, but nah. Miles, I like the idea of Barmore at 14. He was a beast in the playoff games. Yeah, I think that's what's going to stick in people's mind. Plus, at his pro day, he's going to test really well. So I'm certainly fine with Barmore at 14, even though you are certainly betting on the come. Ira Coffin. Is Sewell the most likely draft prospect to end in the Hall of Fame? Maybe Lawrence, since it definitely helps it be a skill position. There's so many variables, though. Health is a big one. Like, when Tony Baselli came out, also, I'm thinking Anthony Munoz now out of USC. But Tony Baselli was going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, except injuries. He just could not stay healthy. Now, he's still a borderline guy, even though he really only had 4 amazing all-pro seasons. But, yeah, if you had to bet on one player to make the Hall of Fame, I would bet on Penei Sewell. I guess Lawrence would be 2. Gosh, where else would you go? Maybe Kyle Pitts. Just because he has a chance to be a transcendent tight end. Actually, I might go Pitts 2 over Trevor Lawrence. Flight Reacts. Oh, let's go. Let us know where we're watching from. I'll give a couple shout outs. Flight Reacts, second question. Do you think Quentin Nelson will make left tackle money 50 and 20 a year and change the guard market? Also, how much would you trade for him? Well, if they move him to left tackle, he's definitely getting left tackle money, which I don't think that they should. Since they held on to the first round pick, I think they can take a left tackle. I would trade 2 firsts for him. I know that seems like a lot, but that is going, like, if Jamal Adams is worth 2 firsts, yeah, we're going 2 firsts after Quentin Nelson. And I don't think he'll get 20, but he'll definitely reset the market, because how much does Zach Martin get? Like 16? He'll be 16, 17, somewhere in there. John Schwartz. If we trade back to, say, 19 or 24 and AVT and Bateman are there, would you try to make the wide receiver core stronger or draft for need at guard? I mean, both classes are pretty deep when the Vikings come around again the 3rd and 4th, but I would take AVT. Where I do like Bateman. I think the talent gap between an AVT and, say, like a Ben Cleveland or David Moore in the mid rounds is wider than Bateman and a wide receiver that you would get in the 3rd and 4th round. Madden Mobile Sansom. Who's your favorite NFL player of all time? John Randall. Also, non-Viking. Lawrence Taylor, man. Well, Lawrence, like, very few players literally changed the game. Lawrence Taylor changed the game. Also, during the number 15 pick for the Vikings, Devontae Smith, Micah Parsons, and Trey Lance fall. Who do they take, in your opinion? Who do you want them to take? I would want them to take Trey Lance or Devontae Smith. They'll probably take Parsons. Miles, Vikings 2021 award predictions. MVP, Justin Jefferson, Offensive Player of the Year. Dalvin Cook, Defensive Player of the Year. Daniil, Comeback Player of the Year. Daniil, Head Coach of the Year. Zimmer. Oh, really, Clint Kubiak. Mason Z, Rookie of the Year. Kwity Paye. And then Offensive Rookie of the Year. Cade Johnson. What percentage chance do you give the Vikings to land a guy like Thuney or Scherf? 5%. Because teams like the Bengals and the Jets, hell, the Patriots too, have a ton of cap. Well, they're not going to. I don't think they're going to F with Thuney again. But the Colts have a ton of cap space too. So, yeah, they could bring in. Well, they don't need a guard, though. But, yeah, teams with significant cap space could easily outbid the Vikings, even though they could maneuver. Luke Zacher. Did you see Anthony Edwards absolutely baptize Yuta Watanabe? Yeah, that was gross, man. That was dunk of the year. Well, that might be dunk of the last 5 years. Or Anthony Edwards, stud, really growing on me. Daniel Olson. Do you think either Kramer or Tarkington would have had more success in today's NFL? Well, they're both pretty successful. I mean, Tarkenton's a Hall of Famer. I think that with the proliferation, nailed it, of more mobile quarterbacks and read options and RPOs, I think Tarkenton would have been dynamite in today's NFL. Like, he would have been, imagine Lamar Jackson with a more accurate and consistent throwing. That's Tarkenton. And Kramer, Kramer's solid. Kramer came in, gosh, what was he, a 9th round pick? Let's take a look. Let's see, Tommy Kramer, 494 Tommy. Oh, sorry, 1st round pick. Who am I thinking of then? Wade Wilson? Not Deadpool, the quarterback. Yeah, Wade Wilson, 8th round pick. There you go, nailed it. But yeah, Tommy Kramer, coming out of Rice, he was solid. A traditional, drop back passer. Led a couple of great comebacks. Had the miracle at the Met. Could have taken the Vikings to the Super Bowl if Darren Nelson didn't drop that one against Washington. But yeah, Tommy Kramer had a solid career. I think that's a solid pocket quarterback with a good arm and accuracy, I think that's going to be transcended over forever. Mike Wig, 96 questions needs to come back. Yeesh. Griffin Creer. Oh, a couple shouts. Purple Rain, Skull from Wausau, Wisconsin. Ira Coffin, Fayetteville, Arkansas. Pulford Skull, Nashville Hot Chicken. Raymond Hogland, Skull from PA. What up? Westworld. Skull from Manitoba, up Norte. Astro Zeo Sports Skull from STC. STC, Saint. Jaden Romes, Skull from Sherwood, Arkansas. Sherwood, up to no good. Thanks for coming along. You guys are the best. Griffin Creer. So let's say the Vikings grab Smith at 14. Are there a lot of quality day 2 interior offensive lineman defensive tackles that the Vikings could trade up and get? Yeah, I mean, Aleem McNeil, Levi Wuzuriki, maybe Davion Nixon slips into day 2. Jalen Twyman, Darius Stills, Tyler Shelvin if you want more of a nose tackle. Tommy Tongai, also more of a nose tackle. Yeah, there's some solid players. Interior offensive line, I think Wyatt Davis is going to slip into day 2. I think that he's going to be a steal in the 30s, maybe even 40s. Landon Dickerson is our guy. See who else. Josh Myers is there. Drake Jackson. Ben Cleveland. Quinn Maynard is going to be in that mix. Oh, Kendrick Green from Illinois. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of really good dudes. Jackson Carman, who I think is going to slide in more as a guard. Trey Smith. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of really talented players. Bawa Daba. What would you trade for Young Hoku? I would trade one of the 4-4s. Atlanta will say no. Stanley Morris. Pros and cons of Slater versus Darisaw at 14 if both were available. Oh, we kind of already did this one. Well, Darisaw is more of a natural left tackle. They both are great in the run game. Slater has positional flexibility where I think Darisaw could easily flip sides if he wanted to or kick inside to guard, but it seems like a waste as he's a prototypical left tackle. I think he does have better feet than Slater, but Slater just has like a junkyard dog mentality, which I really love. Plus, he has positional flexibility, has played both tackles, can play guard, and he has been working at center in the offseason with Duke Manyweather, but it's exceedingly close. I guess you would give the slight nod to Darisaw since he did in 2020 and Slater opted out, but I wouldn't really hold that against him too badly. But since Darisaw just is more natural at the more important position, left tackle, I'll take Darisaw. R-Free. What's the one rule penalty you would change or fix? Well, everyone and their mom would say fumble at the pylon being a touchback, but no, I think the rule's fine. Don't extend the football. There's a reason why Belichick coaches his players not to extend the ball because not much good can come of it. One rule I would change. I would make all targeting, all helmet to helmet, all personal fouls reviewable because it's so bang bang, and those plays, 15 yards and a fresh set of downs, and potentially ejecting players like Harrison Smith, they can be killer. Now, I'm not looking for, hey, every PI should be reviewable. No, because then you get too far into the weeds. But big calls like helmet to helmet, where it's bang bang, that needs to be reviewable. Yeah, and not even reviewable by the refs. Like someone in a central location be like, pick up the flag, or should have been a flag, or this and that. Ethan Griffin. Did you see Peter King's 3-way trade suggestion? We did not, but once we look, we'll figure it out. Alex Sommer. Opinion on trading down to say Washington so they get a shot at Lance and we take Wyatt Davis, super high on the kid. I think that you could even get Wyatt Davis lower, where I love Wyatt Davis as well. If he had stayed fully healthy, I think that he would have been a slam dunk first-round pick, but I think he'll slip because of knee injury, as well as since he played with a separate knee injury throughout most of the season, his numbers weren't as great this year as they were in 2019 when he was an absolute nail driver. R-Free. If you're granted ownership of an expansion franchise and were able to pick any current coach and GM, but had to stay with both for 10 years, who would they be? Call me crazy. I would pick Kevin Stefanski. And GM. God, I might say Brandon Beane, but I don't want to give Bills fans a satisfaction. Spielman's up there. Schneider's sort of lost his luster. No, Eric DaCosta. Yeah, duh. I'm taking the Ravens GM. Next up, Andy Shong. Media keeps saying Texans will get a haul picks for Deshaun, but how I see it, they will probably get something small since Watson wants out. What's your take on this? Watson said he would sit out. I don't believe him necessarily. But, yeah, the fact that they are losing a little bit of leverage in terms of Watson could just, take his ball and go home, even though he'll be fine, but that's fine. And he can sort of pick his spot. So it does leverage to a degree, but I think they'll still get, top shelf for him. Leviathan, 1888. Reported Patriots are picking up phone hearing quarterbacks are available. How would Mannion fit? Well, he's a free agent, so they can just sign him. Hey, maybe we interest you in your finest Nate Stanley's. He's like a very poor man's Drew Brees. Or not, Drew Bledsoe. Tad Skoll. Respect your real monster, sure, but Doug is the greatest Nickelodeon cartoon of all time. False. Actually, probably. Ezekiel Lockhart. Number 1, Marcus Foligno had a Gordie Howe hat trick last night. Was that like 6? Was that like 2 hat tricks? Also completely dominated the fight. Or, is it a goal, an assist, and a fight? Yeah. Number 2, are you right or left-handed? Not even goddamn business. I don't know, left-handed. Griffin Creer. Who was the better college player, Gregory Rousseau or Yetter Gross-Meadows? Rousseau. Where Yetter was solid, but he didn't put up the mind-blowing numbers like you would have wanted him to. It's kind of similar to Jason Webb. What is it about Penn State edge rushers? I don't know. But, yeah, Rousseau had that amazing bang-bang 2019 season with 15.5 sacks. And he is going to be a first-round pick. And, Gross-Meadows slipped to the second round. Joshua Queen. Can we, as Vikings fans, finally get that quarterback that is mobile and can throw? PK's article has him coming to Minnesota. Peter King's. Can have one time. Maybe. Thorvald Von Johnson. The league finds out that Marshall is a vampire lair and Lance falls to 14. Do the Vikings take him? They should. Tommy Johnson. If Scherf and Thuney are not exactly realistic, is a mid-level free agent guard Josh Klein type going to be a big enough improvement for Dakota Dozier to make top 5 offensive league? Yes. Like if they land Ethan Posich or Austin Blythe or John Feliciano, they'll be good. Angel does it senior. What if society isn't any different by the time next season rolls around? What if Pierce and Daniil opt out? Was another. Well, why would Daniil opt out? I could see Pierce opting out again, but I don't know if he gets a vaccine and everything is good to go. Should be fine. That in the back of my mind, it is a little bit of a concern though. Chris Danny Hansen, which current Vikings player is the biggest diva? I might say Kyle Rudolph. Daniel Olson. Harrison Smith versus Eric Kendrick in a hypothetical fist fight. Who wins? I think Harrison might actually have the reach advantage on Kendricks, but Kendricks has the weight advantage. And Kendricks might actually have the speed advantage due to age. Well, he's not spring chicken either, though. I would go Kendricks. Kendricks just because of the weight advantage. I think that negates the length. And if Harrison does have a length advantage, it's going to be negligible. So, yeah, I'll go Kendricks. That's it. That's the Daily Jerome's live stream for Tuesday. Thank you very much for coming along. We talk to you tomorrow. We'll be back. Skull.